Hey everybody, so welcome to Wine Free Wednesday. If you are new, then this is the moment in the week where I invite you to just anoint Wednesday as the day when you will go wine free. If you are new to my work, I need to tell you I am not somebody who says you need to stop drinking. This is, for me, this is all about control and deciding intentionally how much we want to drink and drinking no more than that. But I do think it is fun just to say one day in the week we're going to do this. And when I come here each week, I do this because I want to give you all the free stuff, right? I want to give you a taste of my work, a taste of my world, and I want you to see possibility. This is all for me about seeing who you could be, seeing what life will be like when you change your relationship with alcohol. And we throw those words around, right? Change your relationship. What does that mean? To me, it means that alcohol, if you keep it in your life, so wine, for instance, is basically an irrelevance. It is as important to your life as broccoli is, right? We might have the occasional broccoli, or maybe even it could be a cream cake, right? You might occasionally have a cream cake, but your whole day, your whole evening is not fixated on this cream cake. This is very much the way I talk. In my book, The Off Switch, I talk about creating that sense of control for yourself. And my work, every time when I come here each week, I generally talk about one of the pillars of my coaching, right? So I talk about mindset, which is how we think. Our thoughts are really everything about the experience we have in our lives. I talk about skills, right? I teach skills. I want you to know if you're thinking, oh, I'm not sure, I've always tried all these things and I'm still drinking more. It's a skill, right? We just want you to think of it like that, right? We don't judge ourselves if we are learning, my favorite topic, driving. If we're learning how to park, maybe we've got an extra big car and we have to learn how to park the car, we don't judge ourselves for that. I talk about identity, which is the person we are becoming. And I talk about purpose, right, which is our why. Why, what role does alcohol have in our life? And normally when I come to these Wine Free Wednesdays, I have like my little script written out. You might see me because I want to make sure, it's all prepared. But today I thought I would try something new and I want to riff a little bit. And I almost want to vent a little bit. I just want you to hear me out on this because I think there is something, in fact, I know there is something I need to tell you or encourage you to think about. And that is this sense of entitlement. I see this a lot on the message boards, and I see this a lot as people are going through life, where we feel entitled, I offer, to have a good time when we go out, always, right? Gonna have a good time. We feel entitled to feel relaxed and everything to be perfect at home. We feel entitled when we go on holiday or we go on vacation. It's got to be good, right? This is my holiday. This is my vacation. I've saved up for this. And again, you might be going, oh, what are you saying, Anna? This is not right. But I just want you to think about it. And when we go into these scenarios thinking, if I feel frustrated at the end of the day, if you're thinking that is a problem, I've got to solve that problem, then of course you're going to want to drink wine because you've been doing that for all these years. And there is no doubt that wine feels in the moment like a very quick fix, right? The first glass, I often ask my clients, if you were to gauge, sort of rate glasses 1 to 5 or 1 to 4 or whatever, how do they shape up? And the first is always the favorite, the second is always the second favorite, and so on and so forth. So I just want you to think about this entitlement. I want you to ask yourself, do you feel entitled? Right, when you're going out for the evening, because I see people, so I have an app and I work with people on this. And what people tell me is, this is great, I really want to reduce my consumption, but I'm going to be on vacation, and so I'm going to press pause for a little bit. Or people say at the holidays, I'm just going to press pause. Or it's going to be Thanksgiving, right? Thanksgiving is coming up next month, right? And I want to have, I'm going to have to tolerate my family that's going to be really stressful and I'm going to need the wine or I won't be able to tolerate it. And can you see this is all, it's all smells of entitlement. But if we dropped that, what would happen, right? If we were willing to go towards any scenario, any situation, any day, right? Anything, and not feel entitled to feel good, how would that change? Right, because I want you to think about it. In life, we have great days, we have good days, we have bad days, we have terrible days. I mean, we know our life can change from 1 minute to the next. There's all sorts of reasons that things that go on. And then what I see people do is they say, well, that thing happened. I don't like that thing. I don't like the way I feel. And it's not what I want. And this wasn't expected. And so, you know what? I'm going to have a drink. I'm going to numb out, right? This is when we get into numbing. It's because we don't want to face it. And I don't want you to feel judged by this. That is not my point here. My point here is to say, if we did drop this sense of, I really, we have an expectation as to how something will be. And then when we kind of put our weight behind that expectation, and if it isn't that way, then we feel bad, and then that's when we might drink, or we might say, without the wine, it's not going to be as good. Again, this is another expectation. And what would happen if you just dropped that expectation? If you just said, look, I'm going to go out, I'm not going to have the wine tonight, and maybe it won't be so good. Maybe that's okay, right? We stop worrying about what we're missing out from. People tell me a lot as well. They say, I feel very triggered by something. I want you to consider the language here. That is passive language. I was triggered, which suggests that something else came into my life, did something, and then I reacted to it, right? That's what happened. So you might feel triggered at the idea of going on vacation and me saying, look, that's the perfect time to try to drink less. And I genuinely believe it is, right? Because when you're on vacation, you have all the things, all the fun. Or it's not like boring day-to-day life. You don't have to work hard to find something that is entertaining. And again, if we dropped the entitlement to have a good time, we might say, oh, but if I didn't have the wine, then I won't have such a good time. We kind of decide ahead of time, and we truly don't know. We truly don't know. But unless we're willing to try that, and to see what it would be like, even for 1 or 2 days, and again, drop our entitlement to have it exactly as it always is, what could happen? Again and again and again with my private clients, what we see is we set goals. That's one of the things I do. I work with them. We set goals. We do intentional drink planning. I will never tell people what they have to drink. That's not my domain. I'm there to help. And we say, okay, we're going to do an alcohol-free Friday. That's generally quite a big barrier or obstacle for people to get over, right? It's a mindset thing. And we might work our way up to it, and then they do it. And generally speaking, the thing I hear is, do you know what? It actually wasn't so bad. Now, I am not suggesting that for the rest of your life, if ever you do an alcohol-free Friday, it is not so bad. We don't want that, right? I want you to have a full and expansive life. But if you see that it's not so bad, and then we start to see, okay, so what could make it better, or what else is going on there, and that we don't have an expectation or a sense of entitlement that it's always going to be fantastic, we are willing to take that much more action. Right? Because we are not what I call failing ahead of time. Because if we prejudge, we say, if I'm going on vacation, I've paid for this, I expect to have a good time. I'm entitled, I paid my money. I'm entitled to have a good time here. And if I don't have the wine, Anna, it means I'm not going to have such a good time. See, we are prejudging. So I just want you to be curious and ask yourself, if you did drop your expectations, if you did drop any entitlement that you have, what could that mean? There is also, with regard to this point, no right time to do this work. This is another thing, again, I hear frequently. People say, well, I have that going on and that going on, and there's going to be that, and I'll wait until after the wedding. Again, this is life. I want you to see that life is going to come at us. Life is going to do its thing, whatever we're doing. And I just say it is the most fantastic thing if we just say, I'm going to try these different approaches. I'm going to drop my expectation that I'm always going to feel good and I'm always going to feel fine and I'm always going to be willing to do my intentional drink plan. And if we dropped all that and we just went towards it, that's how we learn the most. So I just wanted to come on and say those few things because I think it's important. I think it's important that we recognize there are good days, there are not so good days, and that's all totally fine. And that whether wine is there or not, we're going to have good days and we're going to have not so good days, right? We don't have to kind of pretend that everything needs to be good. So in closing, as I will always say, if you want to work with me, when you are ready, you're through with what's going on and you resonate with my stuff, I want you to click on the link below to book a free call. It's totally free discovery call, or go to 90dayslater.co and book your call there. I will give advance notice. My practice is filling up, right? More and more and more people are finding me through my book and my podcast and all sorts. It is filling up. I do still have space, but it is filling up. So I want you to do that. Go ahead and do that when you're ready. I mean, if you're just, I'm just going to do this. And you don't even need to feel ready, right? We don't always feel ready, but we know that what we have right now isn't working. And if you like what I'm talking about and the results that I talk about, and you think that's going to be good for you, right? Let's get started on that. The other thing I'll mention is, and leave a comment below on this, I'm thinking of doing like a mini audio telegram thing, like just where I would have some audios where you could sign in to listen to, have me in your ear a couple of times a week. And it's just a new thing I'm thinking of. I might launch it, I might not, I'm not entirely sure. I'm just playing with different ideas. So let me know if you have any comments on that below. All right, and anything else anybody wants to ask? Otherwise, I will call it a day. And again, I will go in and check if you've got questions, comments, I will respond. And as I always say, Facebook deletes these lives, so I rehouse them on my 90 Days Later with Anna Charles YouTube channel. So thank you so much for watching. And just that's your challenge for this week. Drop the entitlement and then see what happens. Okay, bye-bye.